So hello, once again, I'm doing a Monday Madness. Um, Again, it's going to be politics to start off. There's several topics I've had people ask me to do something about, but I'm going to jump on one because I feel it is pertinent for the time. Better get the lights out of there. And that's a little bit of foreign policy and, of course, for me, very pertinent domestic policy. First of all, I think if we get to better understand my thoughts, I had posted before about something like the TPP over around by the South China Sea. And I want to think of the strategy as sort of like spreading the wings of the eagle on the other side of the globe. If you have one wing that goes across the Indian Ocean and over to the South China Sea, and then you have another one that comes up where we can do a lot better in Africa, especially letting them have a little bit of their own, was it refining their own oil in some places? We can do better to help them economically thrive, as well as a outstanding place for sustainable farming and other things to help them live with their land that they love so much. But the other one, going back up to Europe, getting back in touch with our allies there, we do need them to pull their weight, of course, but we also need to still be a part of that coalition. It's not just run and hide, wham. So we need to spread that wing that goes up through the Atlantic. And I think instead of the eye being on Saudi Arabia, we should make that the beak and put the eye back on Iran. We have some things to honor on our side, and then I think we should renegotiate the deal. I think we should, as part of it, we should renegotiate things like exclusive rights to some of their stuff. Instead of them flooding the market with a bunch of oil, we give them something like exclusive contracts with certain people at certain limited range prices, like in the $40 to $50 per barrel range. An exclusive right, so though we can use it as whatever we want, as leverage and all that sort of stuff, it also means that regardless of what the market does, there would be a little bit of stuff. I would say the 40 to 50 because I would actually think it could be negotiated as something variable so that they can both take advantage and ease any market blows that may come into contact while still making a profit, as they have been able to do in the past. And we can also, in exchange, instead of having them develop anything, nuclear weapons or otherwise, which everyone seems to be doing, why not help them get nuclear power? And I don't mean in the form of giant nuclear power plants. I mean in the form of distributed small nuclear power plants. The newest generation power plants are both extremely more fail-safe, and they are not gigantic like Fukushima or any of that stuff. Number one, so they're smaller, less hazardous. Number two, anymore in this day and age, having any centralized power center like that is a massive target. One missile, bam! What are you going to do? We need to have more nuclear power by having one centralized place is a big target. So having them as a test bed isn't too bad while we also try it here, but being able to do small little bits like that, where it's something like thorium molten salt or all that sort of stuff, would also be a great way to engage their populace. I mean, come on, it's not the entire nation we really don't like. There's a lot of good people there, just like everywhere. Right? So let's go ahead and do something to encourage. I think it would be a pretty good idea there if we could give them something to look forward to. Having multiple sites like that allows for not only jobs but technical jobs that, while not necessarily in the all the best ways there, it's not necessarily development or all that sort of stuff, but even maintenance and maintaining it, being a part of it, would give a structure that may or may not be in place there very well right now. In a technical area that we could use. I mean, everything from green power to all that stuff, even bringing a tiny bit there and giving a little bit of space and hope for them to eat, whether it's done by us in part and them in the other part, or all by us, which would probably be the worst one. If we could engage a little bit and then have them reciprocate, it would be great. I know a lot of people aren't going to like that because I don't know why. Probably some religious thing. But they're situated in a good place. They are ripe for it. Even in that low range, it still allows a little bit of profit. I mean, the Saudis they can definitely make money if the thing ever dips down to there, and it puts us somewhere right in the belly of Russia, I would say. But we could spread the wings there around, and the tail end would be making sure we take care of Africa and all the shipping lanes and everything that's right through there. I mean, that's an entire place. And let's not forget all the rest of our allies like Australia and all that stuff. But really, where we got hit a lot was through there, but it's really not that hard to really reestablish a bit of an eagle presence, so to speak, across the globe over on the other side. Sort of like a shadow, you might say. The other thing would be foreign or domestic policy. There's a lot of stuff going on I think is good. We had a lot of bad stuff going on that was really just, I mean, seriously, we need to find more green ways of generating power instead of going back to the other stuff. We need to save those resources that we have as a national reserve. If we need to do that because if anything goes wrong, then we may have to, there might be a more dire need, but right now it's just an economical need for those who are unwilling to go forward. So it is something that I would say as a society we can start moving away from. But the other thing being, there's all this thing to legalize recreational marijuana, which I'm for. But really, what I'm more for is legalizing all forms of hemp, making sure that we as a nation not only are okay with medical marijuana and recreational marijuana usage in the flower form, but the industrial hemp uses for the oil, the seeds, the fiber. It has a lot of other uses, and it's kind of it doesn't get nearly the support it deserves. If you're going to legalize it all. There's no reason to legalize recreational marijuana and have industrial hemp be illegal. Like, why? How does that make sense to anyone? Yeah. And another one that's probably going to be controversial, but I think that as a nation we should start moving to, if we're going to have inclusion of religion in schools, we need to make sure we are not moving anywhere close to tax-funded indoctrination, which easily violates the sanctity of the separation of church and state. But if we're going to do inclusion, as the Supreme Court recently decided, then we should do something like at least 3 of the top religions of the nation, state, county, area, wherever, as a minimum. 2 isn't enough, 3, and then you have a comparative. Here's what they say. Here's what they believe. Here's a quick rundown. We have a comparative religion, and not only is it inclusion, it's diversity. It makes sure that we are learning more about each other as Americans instead of just being told one and then wondering why people are different. So I'm all for inclusion, but inclusion doesn't mean just one, right? I mean, inclusion means as many as you can get in there. Practical nature says 2 isn't enough, but 3 is probably just right. 4 might be too difficult, and especially for smaller areas. Or you can do none. There's ways to teach it with none, or have the parents do it like it's done now. Or simply change nothing. So there's always that option. That being said, I'm running close to 10 minutes on this one, but I just wanted to throw some stuff out there. That's my Monday Madness. Still getting used to this. I probably need to look at the phone more, but it's really weird to look at myself. So I'm getting used to it. Thanks for anybody that watches this.